Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains and welcome to another layout design video. And today we're going to look at this 12 by 12 foot layout inspired by one of the Finger Lakes in the US. And I would say it's maybe proto-freelance, but it's mostly has references to the prototype. So let's go through it. Here is the design in its entirety. Let's zoom in a little bit and we see we have a loop all around because a lot of my clients and I understand I have it as well on my own layout. I want to run continuously if they feel like doing that. But in terms of operations, it's point to point. So we start in the yard in the north, and then we go counterclockwise this direction, past the industry to the power plant. We have a passing siding at the end, and then a large industry right here. So now you have a lay of the land. Let's have a look at the different aspects and different areas. So looking at the prototype, it's this Finger Lake right here with Geneva in the north. And let's just have a quick look at the various aspects that are there in the prototype, and then we'll look at how that's compressed and diluted to our own layout. So the client wanted this depot, and what strikes me is all these different lines, all these different probably subdivisions that connect to different parts of the railroad. And here also the track right here, probably if you zoom out, went underneath and connected again on that way. And if you look at the other side of the yard, here's the yard, obviously not that big of a yard. The line also splits up again, so track going everywhere. And here you see the terminal, it's quite small. It only has a shed for one track, and there are multiple tracks here. And note how we go back to one line at the end. There's all kinds of cars, I guess for the tourist route, some coaches standing there, and some abandoned track right there. So let's just quickly move on. Here we have a customer, a propane dealer. Keep that in mind. And as we're heading here to the south, we're going to follow the line here, and it's going to come here and hug the shoreline. But we do pass this really nice village of Geneva. We'll come back to that later. And just zooming out where our entire line is going, this is the lake. And there's not much happening all the way to Dresden. There's a power plant there. I'll look at that in a minute. And then we're going to go all the way to the south here to Watkins Glen. So let's just have a look. I have a little bit of an idea where we're heading. Let's zoom into Dresden. And here is a nice power plant. And there's quite some trackage to it, to be honest. A yard right there. We're not going to model all of that. It actually has a switchback back into the plant, and there are some other structures here. I'm sure there's facility to offload the coal. I believe it's a coal power plant. And here it seems like they might be adding something to the coal, some additives. I don't know, to be honest. Maybe some kind of catalyst. But this is a nice little power plant. Has like a division station here, whatever it's called. I'm not an electrician. And it sits in the middle of the land here, which is something to note as well. So then going south, just going to jump all the way to the end because there's not much happening for us to model. What we wanted was Cargill salt. And Cargill salt is a really interesting industry, and also from a layout design perspective, I really like it. Let's have a quick look. The track comes in from the north, and this by itself is a beautiful scene. The track here, we have the boats, the little harbor. You're really hugging the coast. Beautiful. Anyway, we're not modeling all that. So, and we go here, the line ends actually at Glen Creek more or less. So this would become your lead into the industry. And just look how that track is spaced out and curves into the industry. Just love it. So this is the end of the line. Let's have a look at the layout and how I compressed everything. So start at the engine terminal that you see here in the box. And you see we have a 3-bay engine shed. The client really wanted that. I tried to convince him only go for 2 sheds. We don't really have space for 3 sheds, 3 bays. The prototype only has 1, as you see, but that's fine. We have the track going to the north, track going to the south. We have that here as well. I really wanted that look. And note that the north one is used as an interchange track, so we can spot them cars there. And the south one finishes the continuous loop. Now here we have the siding that ends off just off layout, off the image, and we have the same here, the 2 siding, and it also ends off layout. Now it would be nice to have that turnout on the layout so you can do like a switchback, but yeah, we don't have the space for it. So it's just going to be like this, but what we do get are these two tracks right here. And this bottom track is actually the lead to go to this section here with two classification tracks and to use this runaround right here, which you shall need. So this track definitely has a purpose and can remain empty. Although the north one, you can just stack all kinds of equipment, mode maintenance away equipment, etc. on there, and there's some fueling stations there. You can fuel from there as well. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to promote the model billboard hobby, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because that would really help to let other folks know that this video might be of interest to them. And that's basically this whole area. Here we do have the propane dealership, albeit very compressed. You see in real life it's, well, this is it. There's also a team track here, and all the propane storage is here to the right off layout. It's massive. So if you're in need of more industries, if you really want to fill your layout, you could add this team track to it as well. So onto the next area, the city. I told you I will come back to Geneva, and here it is. We have the track going through Geneva, and I wanted to model that. I mean, we need to make this curve here anyways, the unsightly curve to go around the corner. And this city with these tall structures will really block the view of the train going through the curve. And on top of that, we're going to have a great view of the track here crossing the road, and the same over here, albeit it's a little bit more difficult to see from there and there. And just when filling in the details, we really want to bring it home with some very specific stuff. Like this parking lot, as random as it may be and as mundane as it may be, you do want to have a street with a parking lot behind it. Here on the left you see it, and you can then really model the backside of the buildings and give it some purpose and make it nice. There's a vacant area here, some cars, somehow you could probably drive through there. Nice. And looking from this way into there, but in our case it'll probably be more or less that way. We have this street scene, so you see the track right there and the lake way in the distance right there. Beautiful buildings, very well maintained village, I must say. Nice. Now there's one more industry I wanted to add, and that's in Dundee, New York, out of all places. And the only reason why I chose this industry, because there's not a lot of industries between Dresden and Geneva. And secondly, this has this loading platform that's under a different angle than the main structures, which I really liked. That really gives it quite some character. So that is basically the depth of why I chose this structure, and it will make for a nice scene. You also have the truck loading bays here. You have it here in the prototype as well. And then going on to the power plant. Again, this is going to be a representation. So we have the tracks coming in here, and we're not going to model all that track work. Here it is with the yard. One track will be enough, because the layout is also not big enough to support a huge amount of cars just going to this one industry. Now when you model it, I think it's important to model this electrical section of it as well, and just get these smokestacks in it, and some of the different buildings. You see here the smokestacks as well, and just take one or two probably, Walther's power plant kits, and just mash it all up together. Now, the Watkins Glen Cargill salt facility. You see, I really wanted to get this sweeping curve of the track in there. That's really something I enjoyed from the prototype. So that's what we got right here. One goes to the waterfront, and the other one goes here in between these, I believe the word brine tanks from different stages of desalinated water. I think that's what's going on. So we have that here. I flipped it around a bit. So here we have the water side, and here we have these different tanks right there and there. Or you can kit bash this structure. It's quite big for the layout, but you see it's also really big in the prototype. So I really want to do it some justice. I added some side buildings to it, the office, and then here we have all these trailers, because that's also a bit of a feature here, all these trailers. No idea why they're there, but they are. And then of course we have the waterfront right there, which has a bit of a different shape, but that doesn't really matter. Heads here into this river canal area, and that's what I modeled as well. And then you see some structures here. This can be anything from a bank to a McDonald's and anything in between. So we have that on the layout as well. It's nice just to place it a bit, depending on the structure you take and how you paint it. You can also really set the time frame with that. So that were the individual areas. Let's see how the layout would work as a whole. So remember, it's point to point. So we're going from this yard in this direction to this siding right here. And that's about it. So just as a reminder, on my Patreon page, you can actually buy this design and then you get the full set of details in the AnyRail file. So you can mess around with that. Or you can subscribe and then you get access to all the designs in all the AnyRail files. So the cars are coming in from the interchange track right here, and you can spot 1 or 2 cars on that interchange track there as well. And they need to go to the yard, and that's where they're going to be sorted. I see there's only 2 tracks really, and you can use this one for some classification works, but you don't really need a lot of tracks for this layout. And then sorted to go to this spur, that spur, this spur, and here Cargill as well for the salt plant. So in that procedure, you're going to lift the cars that are already at these industries, bring them back to the yard, they'll need to be sorted again, and then spotted on the respected interchange tracks. Note, you can also use one of these yard tracks as an interchange as well. So you just leave them on this track for a train that would eventually come from this direction to pick them up or to swap them out for a different set of cars. That swapping out of cars would be done in between operation sessions. So that basically gives you 3, or you could even spot some cars on this track and then say that they would come from this end from the main line. So that would give you 4 different interchanges, 4 different ways to bring cars onto the layout. So how you do that crew-wise? Well, theoretically, I guess 1 crew could do all of that. It would take a bit longer. So just 1 engine, 1 crew would take all the cars from the interchanges, swap them out, spot them again on the interchanges. It would also be logic to split that up a bit. So you would have 1 crew doing basically the yard works and the interchanges, and then another crew switching everything on the layout, especially if you want to operate with 2 folks. That's, I think, how I would do it. And then you want to record how long it takes to actually switch the industries. And then depending on that, you might want to include or exclude the industry here on the left from Dundee to make sure the timing of the different jobs rhymes with each other. No one's really waiting on each other. And that's it, guys. Have a look at my Patreon page where you can buy all my designs individually. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.